Hey friends, it's Joby here, and we are going to play some Project Cars. We're actually going to review it, so I'm going to read you my review that I did for AusGamers. Before we begin though, I'm reviewing it on PlayStation 4, so I'm playing it on PlayStation 4. It's available on Xbox One and PC as well. It's out tomorrow, although there have been delays on the PC hard copies due to the storms in Sydney the other week. And the code was provided to me by Namco Bandai. Anyway, let's jump into the review. As you can see, I'm driving. I'm on the Azure coast, which is located in the south of France. This is a fictional location, one of the few fictional locations in the game. It's a point-to-point race. It's 12 miles long, so that's like 18 kilometers, and I'm going to drive through it in my McLaren P1 against these other cars and see how well we can do. You can have a look at how gorgeous this game looks. Anyway, let's jump into the review. The weird thing Project Cars does is give you everything and let you do with it what you will. Right from the get-go, every track, every car, every setting is available for you to play with. You don't start in a beat-up shitbox or drag your way through tedious license exams. You don't even have to buy a car to find yourself driving it. And it's weird because for years, console simulation races have forced us down progression paths, locking off content to force us to experience everything and earn our time in better cars, and Project Cars isn't like that. At first, it's ultra jarring, creating this sense of incompleteness to the entire affair. I started my career mode in 125cc karts because they were the least powerful, and I've been so acutely trained by, well, at this point every game, not just racing games, that I gravitated to starting off in the lower ranks. And this is interesting for two reasons. First, the game does offer players a progression system of sorts, even if it doesn't lock content behind it. And that system requires players to start in karts and make it all the way up to the Le Mans prototypes inside of 5 seasons. So I had actually accidentally started at the correct place if I planned on earning myself some trophies, even though that's not something I really do. The other reason it's interesting is because it's probably the flat out worst place to start your career in Project Cars. Project Cars works very, very hard to accurately simulate the handling profiles of all of its vehicles. And as anyone who has been to a weekend-long Bucks party knows, karts don't handle like cars. So starting in karts taught me oodles of terrible habits regarding the game's control model. And after moving beyond the karts, both the 120cc and 250cc variants, I found myself braking later than I should be, taking much tighter racing lines, and generally racing poorly for dozens of races afterwards. I think it's actually a testament to the game's accuracy, if anything. It's rare that you feel such a distinct shift in handling without there being an environmental change to accompany it. Speaking of environmental changes, Project Cars features dozens of tracks from around the world, both real and fictional interpretations of exotic locations. There are traditional circuit races around everything from the Nürburgring through Bathurst, Laguna Seca, Spa, and including the nightmare that is Brands Hatch. There are 2 point-to-point locations, the California Highway and the Azure Coast, which we're on right now. A gorgeous stretch of road, as you can see, along the French Riviera. There are tracks surrounded by trees, by desert, by mountains, open tracks where your only punishment for making a mistake is a brief sojourn through a sand trap, and tight closed tracks where carelessness will see you bouncing off walls like the little ball in Breakout. And with the environment, there's also environmental effects. There's weather. Project Cars allows you to stuff around with weather with ease. You can apply multiple different weather effects to a race in any manner you choose. You can start a race with light fog, have it progress into heavy rain, and then end everything in clear, blue, sunny skies if you're so inclined. Or if you're crazy, you can set all weather options to random and see what happens. Your pit crew chief will let you know ahead of time if the weather is going to change, which means you can adjust your car setup appropriately. Still, I didn't always feel like anything except for heavy rain had a huge effect on the gameplay itself. It wasn't until it was pouring that I felt the wet weather impact how I drive, which is odd. Worse, it was more a combination of a slight lack of friction and a dramatic reduction in visibility than it was actual weather altering the physics of the game. This is one of those things that they're changing with the day one patch, but at the moment, weather seems far more aesthetic than gameplay impacting. There are a few gameplay goofs in Project Cars. The distinction between on and off the track is extremely inconsistent, which is annoying when attempting to set a hot lap qualifying time. Many penalizing features seem to be buggy, in fact. I've been given a false start penalty which put me immediately in last place. I'd qualified in pole, and my false start saw the game decide that I was an entire lap behind everyone. I've been penalized for other cars' contact as well, and the AI's awareness of your presence seems to vary from race to race. The UI of the game isn't amazing either, utilizing a pages system which isn't clearly earmarked. If you want to screw around with weather options in game, you need to tab across to it in the race options page, which is odd when the first page is so underutilized. It's never more maddening than in career mode, where the UI resembles football manager screens more than it does paint a picture of your magnificent rise to glory. It's starkly contrasted with the in-game soundtrack, a thing of momentous grandeur which never fails to amp me up. Actually, all sound in Project Cars is glorious in much the same way that it is in many car games. There's no race soundtrack, the game instead opting to allow the vehicles themselves create the music. The whine of the aerial atom is contrasted against the gorgeously building roar of a Mercedes-Benz, and it's often all you need to listen to. Any console owner would be mad to let Project Cars pass them by. PC gamers have many more options when it comes to simulation races, but on PS4 or Xbox One, you can look no further. Slightly Mad Studios has created easily the best simulation racer of all time on console. It's a testament to their love for cars and a beautiful reminder of why racing games appeal to people. There's something about being able to jump into a random car on a random track to just race against yourself, against AI, and against others that I haven't seen in a long time. Everywhere else, I'm always racing for a reason, to earn new cars, to unlock new areas, to build my driving level for some unknown reason. But in Project Cars, I'm racing for the sake of it. So that was my review of Project Cars. Wasn't the best driving in the world, but what are you going to do? If you've got any questions or comments, hit me up below or on Twitter at JobyJojo. And make sure you read the full review over at AusGamers.com. Thanks for joining me. Bye!